Good morning everyone, and it's our first barre session of the year. So we're doing some 30-minute technique sessions. So if you love your barre class, and especially if you're a beginner, this might be a great one to join in with. So you do need to make sure that you've got something to use as a barre, so a sturdy chair, you could use the wall if you need to, kitchen counter, something like that would be absolutely ideal. Now listen to your bodies, make sure that you are working with your body rather than against it. So if anything doesn't feel right, modify. Are we back again? Right, okay, so as I was saying, this is your technique class to learn the basics of barre and some of the techniques that you might not be familiar with if you're used to doing a normal Pilates class. Barre is a brilliant way to tone up, get strong and fit and healthy with nice long lean limbs rather than building bulky muscle. So as I said, you need to have something sturdy for support, chair, wall, kitchen counter, and we're going to start with our feet together. So make sure that you're taking responsibility for your body today and staying safe while we work. So we're going to squeeze those legs together, zip up through the centre line, and just feel that we're lengthening the spine as we take a breath in. And we're going to pop the hand onto the hip and just make sure the shoulder is dropped and not squeezed up towards your jaw. Lengthen the neck. Chin is back over the collarbones. Now activate those legs, squeeze together and lift up through that whole midline. Now we're going to squeeze from the hips, we're going to turn the legs out. So you're going to pivot on the heels, squeeze out and then back in. Squeezing out and in. Now you might feel like you're rocking backwards and forwards to do this. See if you can do it with the weight pitched ever so slightly forwards. Turning out and in, turning out and in, turning out. So you can feel the knees move as well. You can feel that the inside of the knees are together and then more the back of the knees. And in. Now we're going to turn out into first position and we're going to stay here. So this is first with the feet turned out and feeling that lovely wrap around the hips, lengthened up through the spine, hips are level. We're going to press out into a plie. So first of all, just check that your arches are lifted. Can you feel that you're pressing into your little toes a touch? So if you feel like you're rolled into the ball of the big toe, just see if you can lift back. Make sure that comes from the hips, squeeze back. We're going to press the knees out. So you're going to take a little plie and pull back up. Now really squeeze together and lift. Press out and lift. Press out and lift. Press out. So we're pressing those thighs back as we lower and trying to keep the arches of the feet lifted. We've got two more. And up. One last one. Now the more you squeeze and lift, the more work you're going to get. Now we're going to focus on the arms. Look at the arm positions. So for barre, the arms are usually quite rounded. So we want to create a lovely curve in the inside of the arm, as though you're holding something in your palm and holding it upwards. So try not to drop the hand or turn it in. You want that palm upwards and the shoulder open. We're going to take the arm up to first. Now that's opposite your tummy button. Now I'm going to take it up a slight diagonal actually. That's it, you can see a bit better. Now we go up to fifth, shoulder stays down. Now it's not above the head, it's slightly in front so that you can, out of your peripheral vision, you can see the palm of your hand. We're going to open out, and as we do so, I'd like you to turn from the shoulder so that your wrist is now a little bit lower than your shoulder, that second position. And we're going to bring it all the way down again to barre. Okay, let's go through that again. So we lift it opposite the tummy button, first position. We keep the ribs down, shoulders down, we come up to fifth. We open out to the side and pivot. Wrist lower than your shoulder. Bring it all the way down and in. So think of creating that lovely curve in the arm. Open out and down. Let's take that slowly again. Up, open, pivot, bring it down. Let's add in the head. So we're going to keep looking forwards. Arm comes up, we lift the chin slightly, you turn. Follow that hand and down, up. Now we're not looking at the hand, we're just lifting slightly, turn and down. Now you're still zipping those legs together. Core active. Round and down. One more. Let's lift. Forward, out and down. Now there might be times where we're working with the arm out in second position and holding it for a while. If you're not used to that, because that does work, these muscles up here in the top of the arm. Pop it onto your hip rather than letting your elbow drop and switching those muscles off. So we want to keep that elbow slightly lifted. Imagine somebody has got they're relying on you for a bit of support. They've got their hand on your arm and you're helping them along. Okay, so it's that lovely strength in that upper arm. So from here we're going to change foot position. So I'm going to move the chair out the way a little bit. Now let's come up to second position. So we come to first, we open out to second, we've got that lovely slope down to the wrist. Now we're going to take a tonju. So we stretch the leg out and we lower the heel down, so now our feet are wider than our hips. Again, just check your arches are lifted and you've got that lovely wrap in the hips. We're going to take a plie here. So we're going to take a plie. And up. You might find that you can get quite a bit deeper than in first position. And up. But again, we're watching that we're not rolling inwards as we do it. Keep pressing back. Press back. And up. Pressing back. And up. Press it back. And up. One more. Press back. And up. Lovely. Let's bring that arm down and give that shoulder a little roll. Now, time to repeat those on the other side. So let's start in our sixth position. So that's feet together. We call that sixth. Hand onto the hip. Let's relax the shoulder down, connect into the core. Pull up tall, breath in, lengthen. Exhale, activate the core, stay tall. So we're going to be turning out and in, just like we did before, wrapping those hips and trying to stay steady and forward. So we lift and out, lift and in, lift and out, lift and in. So see if you feel like you're rocking. Try and use your shin muscles a little bit more. So we lift and out. Don't worry if they don't go very high at the minute. If your shin muscles aren't that strong, they will get stronger the more you do this. But if you try to keep yourself from rocking backwards, they'll get stronger more quickly. So we're wrapping those hips and in. And then we're going to wrap those hips and stay there. Let's bring that arm down. We're coming up to first, opposite the tummy button. Shoulder stays down, we're coming up to fifth. You can just see that hand. Taking it out, we pivot. Bring it all the way down to grab bar. Okay, I'm going to take my chair that way a little bit more, just so you can see my full arm. Let's take that slowly again, standing tall. Let's take it to first, up to fifth, We open out and pivot so your elbow is slightly higher than your wrist before we take it all the way down. Now keep zipping up through those legs. Keep that core active. Pivot and down. Now let's take it a little bit quicker and add in the head. So relax those shoulders down, keep that lovely connection in your centre. Take the arm up. Open and down. Up. Open and down. Up. Open out and down. Get that little bit of rotation into the shoulder. Bring the wrist down. Up. Open and down. So we're just using the head a little. Open and down. Up. Open and down. Last one. Up. Let's leave that arm there in second. Take those plies. And up. Press it out. Squeeze back up. Press it out. Squeeze back up. Pressing out. Squeeze back up. Now have you still got your elbow slightly higher than your wrist? And got that lovely slope? And up. Press it out. And up. One more. Press out. And up. Let's bring that arm down. We're going to take our tonju out to second now. So we're going to glide that foot out along the floor, lower it down. Now your feet should be turned out the same amount. Toes level, heels level. So it can be tempting when you take that tonju to take your legs slightly in front of you, and then you end up a little bit wonky. So just make sure your heels are level, your toes are level, and you've got a nice even turnout. Let's take that arm through first, out to second. We're going to plie here. Are we ready? And let's press it out and up. Press out and up. Press out and up. So we're really thinking about pushing those thighs back so that we don't roll into the ball of the big toe. Keeping the heels on the floor. One more. And let's bring that arm down and step back in and just give the shoulder a little roll. Okay, while we're on this side, we're going to have a look at tonjus now. And because I want you to focus on what your legs and your hips are doing, we're just going to rest the hand onto the hip for now. So we're staying in that first position. I'm just going to put the light on again actually. It's got a bit dull all of a sudden. Right, now, tonju is a lovely stretch through a straight leg, moving the leg in and out. So that could be to the front, to the side, to the back, or even on the diagonal sometimes. But it's very important that we keep the knees straight. Very often in class I see people do a lovely stretch out and then they bend the knee and step back in. I want you to think of keeping that knee extended and really stretched out all the way. So we're going to take it nice and slowly. We're going to start to the front. So your inside thigh is going to the front. So you want to be showing the inside of your leg to the front, inside of your foot, so your leg is turned out. We're going to really work from the hip. So let's slide that leg along the floor. So you're going to push along the floor, stretch the toes, and then glide it along the floor, pull that straight leg back in. Watch for bending that knee. So we're going to stretch and close. Stretch and close. Stretch and close. And you're pulling up on that standing leg as well. Stretch and close. One more. Stretch and close. So you'll notice I was really stretching my foot as well. We're going to have a look at feet in a moment. But now we're going to take that tendu to the side. So just like we did with second position, we want to watch for going diagonally forwards. We want to have that leg going straight out to the side. So if you're on a carpet with a pattern in it, or on a wooden floor that's got lines in it, you could use them as a guide. Get your heels running along that line and follow it out to the side, okay? So let's keep the hand on the hip for now. We're going to stretch out to the side. So keep that hip wrapped and close. Stretch it out. Now keep that knee straight, pull back in. So we're really using the floor and in. Stretch it out and in. And I'm trying to lift my heel as far away from the floor as I can. So I'm really working the arch of the foot, getting a lovely contraction there. Stretch out and in. We've got one more here. Stretch out and in. Now just give me a little plie just to release those hips before we go to the back. Now, going to the back is where I most often see people bending their knees or losing their turnout altogether. So when we go to the back, if your knee is pointing at the floor and you can feel that your heel is pointing away from you, you've lost your turnout. And it is when these muscles here aren't as strong as we'd like them to be, that's when it can be very hard to keep your turnout going to the back. So we're going to take it nice and slowly. So let's wrap those hips and feel that lovely wrap and squeeze that's happening here. Now, can you keep that feeling and glide your foot along the floor? Keep your heel inwards. Now, pull it back in, straight knee. That's it. Push it away and stretch and in. Now, you'll notice with your big toe whether you're turning that leg in and losing that lovely wrap in the hips. Because if you feel like you're on the tip of your big toe, on the top, on the nail, you've lost your turnout. You want to be on the inside of that big toe. Stretch it out and in. We've got one more. Stretch it out and in. Now let's give that standing leg a little release. So let's just cross it over, lean forwards with a tall spine and just sit down into that stretch. Hopefully you're feeling this hip and glute get a good stretch out now. If you want a bit more pressure, lean into it. And then standing back up. Let's do those on the other side. So we're in our first position, hips wrapped, hand resting on the hips, shoulders are down, and we're going to go to the front, keeping that turnout, let's use the floor. Are we ready? Outside leg. So we're going to stretch, draw back in, stretch it out, draw back in. Now both knees are staying straight and in. And at the front I'm showing the inner thigh and the inside of the ankle. Stretch and in. Stretch and in. Two more. Stretch and in. One last one. Stretch and in. Wonderful. Are we ready to go to the side? Drawing that straight line along the floor. Pulling up tall. Keep that core active. Let's stretch it out and in. So you want your knee on top, heel underneath. And in. Stretch and in. See if you can really lift that heel away from the floor and work the feet. Stretch and in. Stretch, so it's a nice tight close. Stretch and in. We've got one more. Stretch and in. Now give me that little plie again, just release the hips and up. We're going to the back now, so remember we want to try and keep that turn out, working those glutes, and want to be on the inside of the big toe rather than on your toenail. So pull up tall, think about where you're working from. Let's activate that core, ready, and we're going to glide it back and in. Knees straight, stretch, and in, stretch, and in. Use the floor, and in, stretch, and in, stretch, and in. 2 more, stretch, and in. Last one, stretch, and in. And again, we're going to give that standing leg a little rest, cross it over, hinge forwards, tall spine. Let's come down into that hip stretch. And push back up. Wonderful. Right. From there, we're going to have a little look at some of the work we do with both hands on the bar. We're going to look at the upper body first. So I'm going to stand in first position. If you want to be in sixth, that's okay. But what I'm doing to stand here is thinking of lifting the front of the hips up towards the ribs so that I'm not arched into the back. So exhale, so if you can draw that tummy in, activate the core, and feel that that happens all the way up to the bottom rib. So if you pull your tummy in and you're just pulling in at the tummy button and all you can feel is a little band of tightness here, see if you can get that starting here between the hip bones. Exhale, pull up, and see if you can get those bottom ribs to connect down as well. So you feel a big full band of strength across here. Now, I'm going to stand fairly close to the bar and take my hands a little bit wider. Now, keeping that rib connection, keeping the ribs down, I'm going to draw my shoulders away from my jaw, and I'm going to push into the ball of the hand and see if I can just push away from the bar a little to get a little bit of extension and recover. Now, that's not happening from here. I'm not doing a back bend in my lower back. I'm drawing the shoulders down, lifting up before I push away. So I can actually feel this here, okay? Shoulders down, lift, and then push. So we often use this extension added into lots of other parts of exercises. So it's a really good one to practice. It's brilliant for your posture. So especially if you spend a lot of time at a desk, or maybe looking after little ones or older people, where you're bent forwards a lot, this is a brilliant way of countering all that forward rounded posture. Shoulders down, you lift out of the hips and then push away from the bar. One more, shoulders down, lift and extend and up. Wonderful. From there, we're just going to take a little step back just to take a stretch. So I'm stepping my feet a little bit wider and I'm going to send my hips behind my heels. Shoulders are down and I'm thinking of reaching my little fingers forwards to get that stretch going down the back of the arms and all the way down the back and down the back of the legs. So now we can take a little bend and stretch. Now if you can you go a bit lower on your chair? If you get sciatic issues, stay a bit higher. If it feels good for you, can you take your hands onto the floor and stretch? Let's do one more. Now, soften those knees and just curl up. Standing tall. Wonderful. Okay, from there, we're going to come back to sideways onto the bar. We're just going to take a little bit of a stretch now. So into sixth position, that's feet together. We're going to take the arm up and over, lift out of the hips, reach over, breath in. Now as you exhale, reach on the diagonal. Take a big breath into the back. Breath out, come up and down. Let's do that again on this side. Up, inhale. Now exhale, reach, so you're trying to reach diagonally forwards. Breath in and out. Okay, let's step the outside leg back. Make sure you can feel all your toes are down and then push your heel away from you. Can you lunge forwards and feel that wonderful stretch down the calf? Now just to deepen that, we're going to take the arm up, reach forwards and lift. Inhale. And come up. Okay, now let's stretch out the hip a little. Let's step a little bit further back and lunge. Feel like you're pressing your hip forwards and down. Feel it open. And up. Press it forward so the heel is off the floor at this point. Now we're going to hold this one. Take the arm forwards, just open out and stretch. And reach across. One more, open out. And reach across. And then let's step in. Let's do those stretches on the other side. So we're starting off in our sixth position with our breathing. We're coming up and over, inhale. Exhale. Take a breath into the back. Come up. And down. One more, inhale. Exhale. Inhale to get that stretch into the rib cage and down. Now let's step that outside leg back. Feel all the toes on the floor and push the heel away. Lunge forwards into that calf stretch. And then taking the arm up, reach forwards and up. Big breath in. And up now, just step that leg a little further back, heel off the floor, and let's lunge forwards to open the hip, push that hip forwards, and up. So it might help if you feel like you're pushing your heel away. So if you think of pushing the heel away as you push the hip forwards, you might get a better stretch. Let's hold this last one. Take the arm forwards, we're going to open out, big breath in, and exhale, stretch it across. Open out, and across. One more. And then just soften, step in, and last move that we need to know for a bar class is a curtsy. So we come into first position, you're going to take a step out to the side and just cross that leg over behind you, slightly bent knee, and just give me a little curtsy. Let's take that to the other side. We're going to step out, cross over, little curtsy, and up, and you finish. So that was our lovely introduction to bar technique. We're going to be having a look at some of the other exercises next week, and the full bar class is on our Thursday session on this page. So enjoy the rest of your day, everyone. Take care. See you soon.